Brian hit us up from Topeka, Kansas. If you're listening on podcast, go ahead and grip a solid 10-2 here. The Big Ten isn't as strong as the Big 12 in football. They have people and they have marketing, but they don't have the good teams top to bottom. Well, all right. That is an unpopular take, Brian. There is consensus disapproval, including from me on this, and I have been trumpeting the Big 12 as America's college football conference, but I warned and cautioned the other day, you can't confuse competition with quality. I can have a very, very competitive five-way fight between people who, can't walk and chew gum at the same time themselves. That is not quality. It's just they all suck. Now, in the Big 12, they don't all suck, but you absolutely lack the top end. You absolutely lack rosters littered with future Sunday guys. That's not the end-all, be-all. But to suggest now, because you did the comparative, not me, I never want to traffic in this. I couldn't care less about it. But if you want to traffic in the whole Big 12's better than Big 10, listen, here's the correct take, okay? There are middle-of-the-pack teams and programs in the Big 12 that I could take and I could place in the Big 10, and they would still be middle of the pack. Oklahoma State, for example. If I plucked Oklahoma State via the grab claw machine and dropped them in the Big 10, they'd be a middle-of-the-pack Big 10 program. Here's your problem. I could take a middle-of-the-pack Big 10 program like Iowa, plop them in the Big 12, and they're favored to win the conference this year. So these two things are not the same. You also cannot do the thing where you shave the top off the Big 10. A lot of folks say it's a top-heavy conference. All right, but what you can't do is you can't say, take away Ohio State and Michigan, and they're no different than anyone else. Well, that's probably why they have Ohio State and Michigan. What you can't do is you can't shave their top two off and then seed it properly. What you'd have to do if you wanted to do that is if you take Ohio State and Michigan from me, well, then I get to take Utah and Kansas State from you. Then what are we doing? We're comparing Penn State to Kansas. We're comparing Oregon to Iowa State, USC to Texas Tech. I think you guys know who would be overwhelmingly favored on a neutral field in these matchups. I think you know historically, program versus program, who's been higher quality. Recruiting, it's not close. The 9th best recruiting program in the Big 10 over the last 5 years would be number 1 in the Big 12 over that same time frame. You could say, Josh, the recruiting industry is corrupt. The recruiting industry is part of this. If anything, they created this monster. That's part of the marketing. That's part of the mirage. Is the NFL in on it too, guys? Big 10, last 5 years, 237 guys taken in the draft. Big 12, 129. So it's kind of the SEC bias thing, but it's applied here. Either everyone's in on the conspiracy top to bottom, or you're just wrong when you say the Big 12 is better than the Big 10. I love the Big 12. It may very well be my favorite conference to watch this upcoming year, but it will not be because team for team they are higher quality than the Big 10. Conversely, it's just because I don't care about that at the end of the day. I love watching very, very competitive football played at a pretty high level, and we have that in the Big 12.